It's your show. You do the intro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. So, anyway, here we are, guys. We are live.
We're live. Well, we're recorded.
Well,
we're live.
Yeah, we're recorded live. Oh, anyway, but this is episode 3. We're at my house. And
in sunny California.
yeah. And hey, I might get some sun today. It's been nothing but smoke for the last 2 weeks.
I heard.
Oh, man,
I got a friend who lives out in Oakland. He's been kind of giving me like the step-by-step.
Oh, they got it super bad up there.
Yeah.
So if you notice the ticker going across the bottom there, I put it in Girders we Truss. Last night while I was sleep, I was laying down. I'm like, I'm trying to come up with what kind of a title to come up with, and all of a sudden that just came up, and like in Girders we Truss. I go, I got.
There you go.
There you go.
That works.
Hey,
all right, so everybody, we are in episode 3, obviously, and we're doing the girder and truss build. The first part of the build of the truss is we're coming up with this right here. This is going to be my photographic side. It's got the best of everything on it. I don't know now, Ray, if your instructions, now I'm looking at mine, and it tells you right over in here, it doesn't tell you that we have to have a short section cut. You build this half, at least on mine, I built the first half and got it over. Let's see, where's my cut? There's my cut right here. There's my splice for the top.
JD.
And then
JD. There's something we haven't done before. Go big screen so we can all see it.
Big screen.
Someone actually requested that in the last episode.
Let's see. There we go.
There we are.
All right. Now, let's see. Where's my first half? All right.
You did the same. I see you did the same thing I did. Okay.
Is right here. This is the first section.
Right.
Then you build the second section.
Right.
Well, they fail to tell you in the directions that in the center right here, you got to connect the 2 ends that you just built. Because down on the bottom, you've glued the one piece in, and you got 2 long lengths on the bottom, but at the top, I've got 2 halves, but I don't have a center section.
That's fascinating because I did mine a little bit differently, and we can talk about that now, I guess.
But yeah, let me get off of that screen.
This will be the non-phonogenic girder.
Let's see.
Mine looks nothing like that. Yeah. Well, mine looks like a bridge, but I didn't have that issue.
So I didn't get as far as
one more.
Oh, one more over. Wait a minute, now it's not coming up.
If only you had an IT guy.
Yeah. Why the hell is it not?
There's you.
There's me, but do I have to click on you?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I don't want to remove it.
Or maybe click on you going big and then click on Ray's video.
Okay.
I don't know the StreamYard stuff.
It's been a while since I've actually messed with the different people and there like that, but
yes. There you go.
Okay, now I figured it out.
All right, now Grandpa can train us to do that later.
Well, where the hell did it go? Okay.
I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit.
There's a little when you're in the basement, and there's a little square up in the corner of each person's picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's in there, You click on that, and it says solo layout, and then you can click on it, and it'll go exit solo layout.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, okay. So, I did, and this is one of the things that we were actually, JD and I were talking about beforehand. The actual instructions, folks, to be honest, leave a little bit to be interpreted. Because and I'm going to show it a little bit more here in a bit after we kind of go through some of this other discussion. But as you can see, I'm nowhere near as far as JD got. I don't have my cross braces in here yet. This is what I call the non-phonogenic side, because if you notice, I've got a couple of gaps up top here that I have to go back and fill, which is one of the nice things. I've actually got spare parts on my bench that I can go back and kind of fill these in and make them look a little bit better.
Yeah.
But this particular girder got really screwed up. I had a heck of a pair of weeks with this thing. Because of the fact that things just didn't line up the way they were supposed to, and it was just a mess. The easiest part, though, unlike Rick, it was actually going ahead and cutting these angles, and that's because I remembered that I had a tool that I completely forgot about mentioning, and that's this neat little tool that they use for cutting floors and tiles. I mean, you go ahead and you tell it what angle you want. It's actually set to 50 degrees right now because that was the last angle that I cut. And
Pastor.
made it real easy. Sorry, Rick. That was one of his last good tools. Anyway, one of the things that I ran into because I wasn't paying attention, and Grandpa mentioned it in episode 2, make sure you're paying attention. You see these neat little things up here? You see how these here have got little dots in them? Well, that's because they're supposed to be holding the uprights.
Yeah.
Well, when I first put this together, if you notice, there's a splice point over here, and there's another splice point. No, that's the only splice. I'm sorry. And actually, that's the bad side of the bridge. Here we go. We'll go with this one. You've got the splice point over here, and there actually is another splice over on this side. And these are flat. There's no little bolt nub here for this one. Well, when I first put these splices together, I put the flat ones all the way across. So I had to peel them back off and actually put the ones that have the bolts where the uprights were supposed to go. Not only on the top, but you've also got them on the bottom. The other issue with this thing was because of the fact that things didn't quite work out the way they were supposed to, over here, is that the one? Yeah. Over here, and it's hard to see, but I actually used a spare part that I had from all the cutting and of the girders and such. They don't mention this in the video in the documentation either about taking spare parts to help hold this place together.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing on this side too. It's just a flat piece of the girders that I just stuck across there just to hold it in place because I was like, man, this thing's awfully flexible. Now, we talked about last week, and it looks like this thing's sagging. It does sag a little bit because it's sagging at the splice points. But if you see, once I hold it like this, and this is where it's going to be on once it goes to the girders or the box, the actual base, it'll be flat. But one of the things that came up was with mine, we were talking the other week about the deck and how this thing was going to fit into here. Well, if you look at the picture, one picture shows the truss is actually stopping here. You look at another picture, the girder is hanging out. And it's like, wait a minute, how's that? So I'm guessing that there was 2 different ways of doing this. And mine, I'm actually going to use the what they call the CC beams will actually just glue up against the edge of these.
Right.
And then the BB girder that's on the bottom will actually glue to these wing pieces. So that's what I'm going to end up doing with mine. I mean, it's like I said, they left it open to interpretation, and I'm sorry, I've got a window right over top of me, and every time the sun comes out, it gets real bright over here. But, this thing, unlike Rick, who's getting ready to show you what he had, this is the only template that we had for cutting the girder.
Yeah. Yes.
That's all that Grandpa, we've got half a bridge.
Yes.
Rick, on the other hand, go ahead, sir. It's your turn.
All right, so because my bridge is longer, I'm actually going to flip you guys down.
So
you don't have to look at my ugly. You don't have to look at my ugly
the
mug.
longer thing again. What?
Size is always an issue. Everybody says that. So, but actually, before I get to that, I noticed a couple things, and we talked about this on a text message a couple days ago. One thing that we learned as we were going through the builds, apparently the 1900 bridge, which is the double track bridge that I have, only comes in one style. But when you guys started building your bridge, we realized that there are different styles of the single track bridge.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Ray, yours has square cutouts in your girders?
Yeah, I've got squares. Mine is square. I've got the 1906.
Right. And Grandpa, the one that you're building now, you've got ovals?
Yeah, that's the 1905 bridge.
And the first one that you build is what?
Well, that was the 1902 bridge, and that has the X braces, the X's.
So in reality, we've got 4 different style bridges that we're actually touching on in this build.
Correct. Yeah.
So just wanted to bring that to mind. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Down here on the workbench. So this is where I've been building all of my my stuff. And yes, I do have the full template of the bridge. So I'm able to actually sit down and build it exactly as it exists. But here's the problem, and Ray, this is where you could have helped me out. So if you notice on your bridge, you've got one angle, which they actually call the porthole, or I think it's the porthole or portal, something like that. This part here, and then your bridge goes straight from there.
Yeah.
I've got my porthole here, and then I've got one angle that goes there, another angle that goes there, and then this here is the center line. The only 2 straight pieces I have are these. And then this is an exact duplicate of that. So when you're talking about that little tool that you have, it actually tells me right here, this angle is supposed to be 109 degrees. How the hell am I supposed to cut 109 degrees with this?
Very carefully, Rick.
You wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you. So the next one, the next one right here is 95 and a half. And then the third final one is 92.3.
Yeah.
So I basically had to sit here and so the bottom section here was actually, it was easy. The bottom girders were easy.
Oh, yeah.
Down under here, I have the full length of what the bottom should be.
Right.
Let me get my hand out of the way. So I was able to, as I was building this, I was able to just sit this on here, and I knew exactly where the splice marks were, exactly which X's to remove and where to put the plates. Right. Very simple. When I got up to doing this top section, I literally had to cut one section. When I was putting the other section together, I had to clamp one end down, hold the center section up here with a block, get a pencil, and on the instructions here, there's a really dark line which follows that degree number. I had to sit here and precisely make that mark so that I could then take that, put it into my little jig here, my miter saw, hold it at the right angle in order to cut it on that mark. This has been such a pain in the rear. It's I got it together. There are a couple issues, like Ray said. I've got some gaps up top.
Yeah.
The worst part that I found, which I thought was actually going to be a game stopper, but I was able to make it work. Down here in the instructions, nowhere in my instructions, I went over this section like 3 or 4 times. It tells you how to glue the top. It tells you how to glue the center girders. It tells you how to glue the bottom. The simplest thing that it doesn't tell you is how to connect this rod to here. which seems very simple. Once you get the rest together, it's just a little bit of glue, but it's not in the instructions at all. So the problem that I had is when I was building this, I actually built this angle first, and I left this long. So when it came to putting this together, I had this whole section that I'm now fighting with to hold inside my little miter gauge. So I probably should have done that differently, but whatever the case may be. When I cut this angle to put on here, one side was flat, the other side was not. So I had the girder sitting flat like this, and when that beam came down, one side was on and one side wasn't. And as much as I tried to bend it in place thinking I could just glue it, it would have been so mangled and twisted. I had to come up with another solution. And what I did is I took a very small piece of plastic off of one of those extra spare cutoffs. And I actually stuffed it down in the hole and just covered the entire thing with plastic weld. And it basically made my own little section. That was another thing that I was actually going to touch on this in another episode, but this plastic weld, oh my God, is it abrasive? I could not believe how well this works. When you say a little dab will do, this stuff will eat through plastic like you can't imagine. So use it sparingly. Tip for the day. Tipster from the Rickster. Yeah, I really, honestly, to tell you the truth, I couldn't believe that stuff works fast. And if you've got any little blemish or any little, even like if it's wet and you touch it, your fingerprint's in there forever.
Yep.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's a part of the plastic.
I find Model Master similar to that.
Yeah. I actually originally bought Plastrux Plastweld.
Yeah.
And I was going to use this, but then I found Cousin Vinny uses this Model Masters, which is what I started with.
Yeah.
I started with that, so I built the entire bottom section with that.
Yeah.
And then I saw somebody's video. I can't remember whose it was, but there's this little like needle jig thingy. I don't know if you can see the needle there.
Oh yeah.
It's made by a company called Flexifile, and you basically fill this glass tube with the Plastrux, and as you're going through your model, this just drops a very small drop exactly where you want it. And it worked out great. Ray, are you still with us?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just back to us now.
I was just back here playing the show what that's going to
look like. Yeah.
Oh, here, let me blow you up here.
But you see what I was saying, when I cut those girders short, it's going to end up on the inside of the ends, which I think looks better anyway.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about last week, Rick. This is where those X braces are going to end up being where they need to be, because they'll get glued to that girder. The girder's going to help hold everything in place, and it's also going to help to straighten the girder out, because the girder actually has a little bit of a twist to it, and I've been trying to work that out, and I don't know why it twisted, but it did. So, and I think it's because of the way it's spliced, but it's one of those things. We've talked about how this is a Craftsman kit, and there's no question. I mean, this thing has been, and I know Rick just meant, but this thing has been kicking my butt. And it didn't help that I had a lot of distractions this week. Actually, the last week and a half. Between work and family and so on and so forth. It's been a rough week and a half, but I was able to battle through it. And the other thing of it is too, I talk about, here comes the sun again.
Here comes the sun.
I put something up against if anybody's wondering, I got the window behind me.
Awesome.
That's the front of the house. But right over top my desk back here is this thing.
Oh my.
So, it gets to be a little bright.
Yeah.
But anyway, just battling through this thing. I mean, this kit, like I said last week, Central Valley Model Works did a heck of a job putting this together. The instructions, and here's one of the things, and it may not be the right way to do it. I probably should be doing like JD and Rick and a lot of other people have done, and go out and watch the videos of people putting this thing together. But
I built it your way.
Okay.
You got to make it your bridge.
And that's basically what I was getting ready to say, Rick, is the fact that with what I've been doing, and it's one of the things that JD and I were talking about before you came in, was I'm putting my spin on what this bridge is going to be.
Right.
This bridge is going to be mine. Yeah, the instructions, like I just said a little bit ago, they do leave some interpretation. I mean, this is. And Rick's got, to be honest, I think Rick made out well being the novice builder because he's got everything sitting right there out other than the angles.
Oh, yeah. I agree. And
the angles.
Your point on there, Ray, I think on building these bridge right here, and you're talking about the interpretation, well, on the CC girders, if you didn't cut them down, and like if you're running double stacks, you can make it be a little bit taller. You can make this bridge taller, and you don't have to cut this exactly on that point. You can make it just a little bit longer and match everything up that way. And
that's a good point.
That's how actually on my piece right here, I was just a little bit higher than here where this was.
Right.
Just a little bit higher because I know on my other bridge, which I'm glad I had that as a reference because it did come in handy. And so I know that my double stack train, which I only have one car on there, really, it's my Firehouse one, Firehouse Whiskey. So, but it'll make it through that bridge with no problem now, because it's just a little bit higher, not that much.
Right.
But yeah, like you're saying, you got to, put your spin on it
and that's basically what I've been looking at is the fact that I'm looking at it, I'm listening, I'm trying to watch what I'm doing. But there are those gotchas with those paying attention to the fact that you've got the splice block, which both have the little nubs on them, and then you've got the one for the uprights that have the nub. And like I said, the first time I just went, I'm like, I don't have enough parts to do this. And
Ray, I have to agree with you on there. Those little splice plates, I don't think they have enough of those.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
no.
Especially if you make a mistake, they're not enough.
Yeah, but the ones with the bolt, they've got plenty of those.
Yeah.
But
all of mine had bolts.
Huh?
All of mine had bolts.
Oh, really?
All of mine had. The only thing that was different with mine. Now, of course, here I'll actually show you in the instructions. They have a clear picture of it. Of course, now I got to find it.
And I'm actually kind of glad that you're ahead of me a little bit, JD, because I just noticed something. You were showing yours how you have, from the end you got one and then another, and in the middle they actually come together at the bottom. So that's not something that's shown because we only get half a bridge.
Yeah.
I would have had them all going in the same direction.
The center one right there, I've got it cut out pretty good on both sides, so those drop in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I went ahead and I took my side cutters and actually went in there and cut those pieces out so that they would sit in there.
These don't glue in; they just pop in and pop out. But I had these for my first bridge, and I didn't put them in because I have to modify them and cut them down, which I think he did show that in the video on the 1902. But I had these together, and I thought, let's give it a try, and it popped right in there. I'm like, cool. I got 4 good ones right now. Boom, I'm halfway done with this part. So then I finished up the other one last night. But yeah,
Ray, I'm like you. I haven't put my center splice things together yet. But I actually have one that's got to go in this direction. Then I have one that goes in the same direction, and then these two center things, I actually have to make an X. An X, and then I get to go in the opposite direction that way and that way.
Rick, on yours, does it tell you to use monofilament for the one? I mean, we got one section in the center of it.
Mine does.
So that's where we let's see.
It goes
across.
Yeah, here it is. I'm trying to point your bridge and show you, but yeah.
Yeah, you tie off on one end, and you go up here, and you come down and make an X in the center of it.
Top and then over.
Yeah.
The braces go here, but then the monofilament line goes in the opposite direction.
Right. And it's only just on the two centers.
Yeah.
No, and I guess not because I have those X's. So in my template here, I have X's that are I have to put in.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that's taking the place.
Yeah, probably.
Probably is. Yeah.
Yeah, this one here and this one here, I only have one, and then on the opposite side they go in a different direction. But the two center pieces, I'm going to have those plastic pieces in. Yeah. So no, my instructions say nothing about monofilament.
Yeah, fishing
whatever.
Line.
Fishing line. So yeah.
Interesting. So Ray, going back to your just real quickly. So those splice things, I've actually got 4 different ones because of all the different angles.
Right, exactly.
So here's the mistake I made. So this third one down here, this is the what I'm calling the short one, the one that goes between each girder.
Yeah.
When I started gluing those and putting the bottom girders together, I just went straight across and put them all in. And then when I started building the next setup, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have enough of these pieces. Well, it turns out that center one that splices the two spans.
Yeah.
Well, that's where that longer one comes in.
Right.
And that's the one I should have used. So I actually had to take a number 11 X-Acto knife and take it out of there.
I did a couple of those on this build too. I just like.
Yeah. I tell you what, that is one of the things I will let the viewing audience know right now. Make sure that you either have obviously you need a number 11 blade.
Yeah.
Another thing that's going to be really helpful if you make a mistake and you have to try and get the part back off. Number one, I've been using Tester's glue. It's the same as the Model Master's glue. A drop will do you.
Right.
And that has been extremely helpful because with the mistakes that I made, I've been able to go back with my chisel bit, the chisel knife, and actually get up underneath the part and pry it back off of the parts to be able to put the right one in and then be able to reuse that. I only broke one of those.
Oh, that's good.
So I got damn lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing of it is because of, and this is the other thing, JD, I'm glad you mentioned, I've actually got 2 extra BB girders, and those are the ones that go across the bottom.
Yeah.
I actually cut mine short. I think that's part of it. But either way, like you said, that'll be nice to use as a gondola load or something else.
Yeah. I've got from 2 bridges now. I've got a pretty nice load to build up now with all that stuff. So
right, and then there's all sorts of, because of all the cutting that we had to do.
Yeah,
you've got other parts that you can break up a little bit and be able to use it on the backside where they don't tell you need to put something because they don't give you enough to put across the backside.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's the extent of my spare parts.
Oh, really?
I had no AB girders left.
Yeah.
I have no BB girders left. I was lucky enough that I got 1 CC out of that.
Yeah,
that's it.
I've got 2 BBs left.
Nice. I got all the the little cutoffs and the little chunks.
I've got 1 each. I've got 2 2 X ones and 2 oval ones. So I've got some good extra parts. So
Yeah, no, I just got cutoffs.
I got some of those too.
Yeah, I got plenty of cutoff pieces. Of course, most of them are in pieces now because I end up having to scrounge for splice parts. But I mean, that's the thing. And like I said, I think it's one of the things that because it's a Craftsman kit, they expect that you've been through this before. And you're gonna know that. Oh yeah, I might need to do this, or hey, save that because I might need that later, type of deal. So
yeah.
All right, I got two more things, and then I'm out of ideas. Ray, going back to where you were testing your girders on your deck, a part of the the center braces for me are actually a part following my instructions. They're in episode 4, so you'll see them go in next time. But the next step for me is to set these things up, and I got a whole bunch of like interlacing pieces that have to go in.
Oh yeah.
But the first thing they tell you is to set your 2 girders up, and then down here there's a little blurb that says "Do not glue." Do not glue. So where the bottom bridge deck meets the actual girder structure, the way that mine works out is when you put this bridge together, those little flanges that you saw on your floor assembly, they sit in here inside this little CC girder, and there's just enough room on that lip where that's where my floor assembly sits. So in reality, when I put this on my layout, these 2 end pieces here on each side, that's what sits on my abutment. And then the floor assembly floats within this structure. And according to the instructions, do not glue. So that's only going to be sitting there.
It's probably, I don't know, maybe for expanding and contracting.
That's one of the things.
I don't know. I'm thinking for taking it off and cleaning the track. I don't know.
Well, that's possible too.
Because you've got here we go. He's got the longer bridge. But no, the thing is I didn't see anything about, but there are, Grandpa was showing his extra bracing on the inside where the seat next to the CCs.
Yeah.
Those don't get glued on ours.
No.
And that's for it to bend and flex and expand and contract.
Right.
So
okay. I'm glad you brought that up because that actually takes me into my next point. I'm going to bring you back down here.
Okay.
So my instructions, the way they have this built, you build the bottom part first, and then you set that aside, and then you start building and cutting and gluing the top part.
Yep.
Right.
And then they tell you to bring those 2 together, and then they want you to start test fitting the CC girders in. Once your CC girders match up with your template, they tell you to glue them on the bottom only. And then what they want you to do is set that whole assembly aside, start working on your second one. Now remember, we didn't glue the top, we just glued the bottom. Right. Then you get your bottom assembly together, you test fit all your CC girders. In the instructions, they tell you, bring these back together. It doesn't really matter, and this is in the instructions, it doesn't matter that your CC girders are exactly together the way they are on the template. What matters is that when you put these together, they exactly match each other.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And that I'm glad that I didn't miss that part because you know me, I'm easy for missing instructions. So if you actually look close at when I put this on my template, they don't match up to the template. I mean, as close as possible. Not nothing can be perfect.
Yeah.
But as close as possible, I got them to the template. But more importantly, I paid most attention to, and that's where I was glad I picked these things up too. These little L bracket things, or squares, because I was able to get those to line up, and I used my little thingies. I can't think of the word for them now. Little clamps, and I got them completely square as much as I could to each other, not the template, and then glue them all together.
Right.
Actually, the last step is to make sure that you glue that top brace together when you feel that you have them both matched up. Because
Right.
I've got, I mean, I don't know what your guy, how much detail they go into with your bridge, but I've got interlacing pieces
Yep.
that have to go in the middle, and then on top of that, I got interlacing pieces that go across the brace pieces there, and actually the very last step is where I'm putting in those
cross braces at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many parts.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get confused, you know.
It's one of the things that I did with mine as well. I didn't try to match the template. When I built the two of them, I made sure that both of my girders are 4.5 inches tall, and they basically, for the most part, the outside edge matches 100%. I mean, it might be 99.8, but they're damn close. Because I knew that once this thing gets on that deck, those have to, if they're off either way, it's not going to fit.
Yeah.
And they've got to be, the heck with the template, they've got to match each other. They've got to mirror each other as close as possible.
Right.
Because if one's at 4.5 and the other one's at 4 3/4, the thing's going to sit like this, and it's not going to look right.
Yeah. Right.
You know? So I mean that was here, but yeah, I mean this thing.
And here's one of the surprising parts that I found. I mean, we've gone through a lot of parts. We have built between a floor structure and the girder structure. We've gone through a lot of parts. I still have all these parts that still need to go on.
Wow, Rick.
I mean,
you're going to be busy for the next week.
and I have to do it in a week.
Yeah, right.
3, 4, 5, 6.
I got a little bit of a deal coming up with me this week because the boss is on vacation and I got to work Saturday, so I got 6 days working straight.
Oh,
to do, and come home and then get this finished for Sunday.
Yeah, I'm on call this week, so I've really got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I've really got. I mean, I worked 12 hours yesterday. That was Saturday. On my day off, they called me at 6 in the morning. We finished up at 5:45 last night. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh well, guys, we're at what 37 minutes into this thing.
Yep. So I think we're going to have to cut this and go from there. But yeah, I mean, I tell you what, Rick. Again, man, for being a novice, dude, you are doing a heck of a job down there.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I can't tell you how much that means to me, because everything that I've done here is everything that I've watched you guys do for years. So what I've learned is all because of the community, all because of you guys. So being able to show this and get this far and to know myself that I now have that ability, it's all because of what I learned here.
Yeah. I mean, once you get your layout going, I mean, you've got the experience now. Yours is going to be nice. It's really going to be good. I can't wait to see what you end up with.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I got no more excuses.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Damn. The honeymoon's over. That's it.
Oh man.
Oh,
all right. Well, let's see. This will be coming out Sunday the
20th. Yep.
12 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Yep.
And then next week 4 is on Rick's channel.
Yeah,
yep, episode 4 will be the following week on 27th, September 27th, over here. And then we do the live show same day up at Ray's place. Look, I got that right. Up at Ray's place.
Yeah.
So JD's over there. Rick's standing there. Here we go again.
It's Saturday Night Fever. Yeah, baby. So, all right, guys. So it looks like we got some work ahead of us.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave you guys there so I can get to work back down here.
Yeah.
And this way, I got something to show you later on.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like a
All right,
winner.
so next week, episode 4 over here, my channel.
Yep.
I'll see you guys there.
Yep.
All right. See ya.
JD,
Take it
thanks
easy,
for hosting
everybody.
this one.
You bet.
See you guys.
All right.